You're on.
Hello, everybody. Knightspeed, Season 3, Episode 7. Tough loss to Colorado this weekend. I am Matt Johnson with his brother Mark Johnson,
Hey, everybody.
and I'm still kind of reeling from what happened Saturday. I have no explanation. It was
Well,
probably,
it's funny how you pretty much go tough loss. I'm going right to embarrassing.
yeah, that sounds good. Let me
Embarrassing loss.
start over and say embarrassing loss.
One
We're
of the
right.
most, I mean, it was
That
one of the most
loss,
shocking things I'd ever, seen of, of walking into that stadium Saturday night. You know, it was one of those kind of things, Matt, to we get the big noon kickoff, show,
yeah,
show out. I mean, really kind of show our campus for what we are really proud about. I mean, it was just everything was lining up to be one of those perfect days for you as an alumni student. What I mean, and then the game started and it just turned into a nightmare.
yeah, and I don't get because if you look at the box score at the end of the game, they didn't dominate anything on us, and that's what I just don't get. It's just I guess every big play that they hit, they had to hit, they hit. Again, they threw a couple bombs that worked on us.
Well,
Whenever it was just
I'll agree. I think Shadur Sanders is as good as advertised, as well as Travis Hunter is as good as advertised. These guys are fantastic players. Um, the thing that got me just dumbfounded was I was expecting this mighty running game that I've seen for the last 3 weeks, and pretty much nothing happened. They I think they outran us, didn't they?
uh, it's well
They
again,
outgained us on the in the running game, I think.
yeah. You think about it though, is RJ Harvey did not have 100 yards. Heck, he didn't even have 90 yards.
Right.
I would bet
Yeah.
he probably have 85.
And yeah, it
And
was I mean, hey, you got to give credit to Colorado. Came in here. I didn't think they had much of a I mean, it was 15 point underdog, you know?
yeah,
And when you get down to it, it was shocking on to where we were not organized. We were out of place. I mean, like you said at the opening, we had 2 weeks here.
yeah.
What happened? What were we doing?
I'm at a loss for words. It was so bad. And Mark, by the way, no, they did not outrush us.
Oh, okay. I
They,
thought they did.
no, we outrushed them by quite a bit more.
Well, okay.
And again, also they didn't really outthrow us. If you look at the team stats, they had 418 total yards, Mark.
Yeah.
We had 461 total yards. So we had more total yards than they did. Passing
Crazy.
yards, they had six more passing yards than we did.
How many turnovers did we have?
Well, that's the tail of the tail right there.
No,
If you think,
I'm getting right to the meat of the problem.
yeah, we had four total,
Four turnovers. You're never going to win a game with four turnovers.
four
Ever.
turnovers. And again, we had a slight edge in time of possession by about 6 seconds. But again, with all these stats, I'm shouting at you. How do you lose by 27?
That's just it. They had a scoop and score with one of their turnovers, right? Late in the game.
Yeah, it's
And, you know, I think I
oh,
want to say two of
you're
the,
one. They were having fun. This
yeah,
was
well, the one Travis Hunter interception, you remember that? Uh, I was looking at that. I was watching it yesterday, and to me, it's like KJ, if you just faked it, pumped it, Xavier Townsend would still be running. He would have been so wide open because Hunter bit so hard, and you just kind of fluffed it out there to him. Of course, he's going to
yeah.
intercept.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he made a play. He was covering like two, three guys at the time. So they're
Yeah.
bringing the house. And to me, KJ, all you had to do was kind of flick it one time and then flick it over his head. You never would have, Xavier would still be running. I mean, that's
Yeah.
how open he
It,
was. And
it,
it's just, obviously it's a what if situation, but it's like, we just, I think the thing about it was on national TV, you know,
Hmm.
packed house. I'm sure it looked good on TV, and we just pretty much proverbially pooped ourselves on national TV. We were the
Yeah,
also ran if they were going to make a Disney film about Dion, we were that also ran team that got beat, one of the teams that got beat by Dion in the magical season. Although I don't think he's having any
we
magical
were the
seasons.
Washington Generals.
Was that?
We're the Washington Generals. You
Yeah.
know who used to play the Globetrotters.
Yes.
We were, yeah, just
I mean, it's one of those things to where you and I talked about this a little yesterday that remember we used to think it was hard to go into, you know, you know, I want to say the bounce house, but the FJC Mortgage Stadium or whatever it's called now, Jay.
yeah.
And it's not hard, you know, it's not
No,
hard at all. Anybody can come in there if they
well,
can.
in this conference, the new conference we're in now, Mark. I think we've against conference foes. I think we've lost more games than we've won.
Sure. I mean,
And
you
again,
know,
you really
it's
can you really count the Houston game because again they followed us from the AAC, so
right.
we kind of have the same. West Virginia came in and beat us. You know, Baylor came in and beat us. You had Colorado now come in and beat us, whip us.
Yeah. Yeah. I
And again,
mean,
I looked at the West Virginia game last year, and not only was that a win, I mean, it was only a double digit score win, but it really felt much worse. I mean, they dominated us.
yeah,
But
you
again,
had a
we had
lot
like
of,
five turnovers in that one.
it was like it wasn't as bad as the West Virginia game, but there were a lot of Colorado fans there that people just sold their
Yeah,
tickets on the secondary market and let, Colorado fans come into the stadium. And it's like, if you're going to do that, you might as well not go to the game.
no, I agree.
Don't be a season ticket holder. Let someone
Don't be
get a shot at that season ticket who's actually going to go to the damn game. You know,
and wants to go to the game.
yeah. I mean, obviously it's your ticket. It's if you think you can make money, but it is annoying when you sit there and the people you're used to sitting next to all of a sudden sell these tickets to five obnoxious Colorado fans or West Virginia fans or whatever. And it's like, I, you know, I don't want to. I have to let the season play out here, but this is one of those games to where I literally came home, Saturday night going, why am I doing this? Why am I going to these games? Especially this is the fourth year of Gus. Nice guy, but I think he's taken us about as far as he's going to take us.
Yeah, well, he's not going anywhere.
No, I mean we've got him for
Yeah,
at least 2 more years, unless he decides to hopefully go to another team like Arkansas. I do know there's a story out there about Mahajer thinking on moving on to where I think Gus may then feel, all right, I got 2 years. I got this year, next year, and whoever's the new AD is going to want his own guy.
yeah.
So he might leave after this year if Mahajer leaves. Who knows? We'll see.
Hmm.
Um, well, and like I said, he's a nice guy. He works hard. It's just the one thing I, I noticed is we were off tempo the entire game, unless if the three touchdowns we scored, if you noticed, it was quick tempo, three strike, two strike,
Well,
you
the
know,
first the first touchdown we got, Mark, was a beautiful wheel route.
yeah,
You know, RJ Harvey went around. The guy was so fooled, he just hit him and he was off for the races.
yes. And this is one of Gus's problems is that he starts, you know, subbing guys in and out. Next thing you know, it just the tempo starts going crazy. And then we get inconsistent. And you got to stop doing that, Gus. I mean, I can't believe no one's told you about this yet. That you were just decide who you're going to use this set of downs, the series. Keep them in there unless there's an injury. Otherwise, RJ is the running back, KJ is the quarterback. Receivers are who are they, and that's who we're going with. All right, and then it just because it just turns into an ugly mess when you sit there and start trying to shuffling Johnny. You decide to run plays. Oh no, wait a second, get Johnny in there. Let's call it. It's not working. And then
Yeah. Well, it goes back to really the first series we have. We have a beautiful interception on the 29.
Right.
We take it all the way down to the 4 yard line, first and goal on the 4, and then on third down we throw an interception
Yeah.
because we couldn't move 12 yard or I'm sorry 12 feet in two downs.
No, yeah, it was shameful. You know, it's one of those things to where you
But
look at it.
we had three drives inside the red zone, Mark, that came up with no points.
Yeah, no, I mean it was an ugly interception that first drive. I mean, we actually got some penetration with the defense on that, on Colorado's initial drive. That's why
Yeah,
that bad interception is because we were actually getting guys in the backfield, you know. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to sit there and call out, the coaching staff, but it seems that right after that they made adjustments and we never got near Shadur again.
no,
Not unless we had a guy with a helmet off or whatever that got ripped off, you know, or it was just it was one of the worst nights of UCF football, and I've seen a lot of not a lot, but I've seen my fair share in 35 years of watching them. You know,
yeah.
yeah, hell, I was me and you were at that game. Remember when Roethlisberger was just you know throwing
Oh,
touchdown after touchdown to the point to where I was getting to the point that I just wanted to run on the field and tackle him. And
yeah.
so I've seen bad games, but this was just one of those
Well,
games. It's like watching
the
your
Thursday
child
night game
get beaten
against
out
Pitt
there.
back in the '90s when Dave Wanstash
Right. That
had
too.
his
That's
team
another one of
running.
those games of, you know, it wasn't as bad dominant wise, but it was just we couldn't do anything on offense. We couldn't do anything on defense, and they just controlled the ball, ran it, you know, fledgingly, but they still controlled clock. And then when Shadur needed to make it a first down, he would either scramble for it or throw a pass that would pick up the first down.
Yeah,
And
I mean, I guess some good news. We had two sacks in this game. That's the first two of the season, so that's good.
you could have fooled me. Is it, Isaiah Nixon? I'm trying to, because you and I also kind of Malachi Lawrence is missing in action this year. I haven't seen the guy do
Well,
really
he
anything.
got one of the sacks.
What's that?
He got one of the sacks.
He did. Okay.
He
You could have fooled
and
me.
it, well, if you remember that one, Mark, it was in the third quarter. Sanders, they had a penalty which knocked him back. They had a holding penalty, so it was 3rd and 17.
I
And
do.
he
Yeah.
and he what he did is he kind of fell down, and I guess Lawrence tackled or tagged him, so it was like a tag sack.
Okay. Yeah.
And it
All right.
was like,
We got to
well,
give it to
wow,
somebody. We'll give it to him because you're the last one who touched him.
you're the one who touched him first.
Right. Yeah.
And
But
then Kelly's sack, I don't remember his sack.
who?
Maybe I was just
Najee Kelly,
yeah,
number 11.
yeah. I don't know if I just had my head buried in the pillow or I don't
It didn't
know.
really matter. I mean, after that, you didn't see much out of our defensive line. Um, it seems to be the same old defense. You know, I mean, I would be satisfied, Matt, if okay, our defense isn't very good. We're going to just have to outscore people, but we can't
Mm-hmm.
do that. You know, they hung a half 100 on us in our stadium, and we couldn't
Yeah,
keep up with them. And
yeah.
the thing about it is Colorado's not a good team.
No,
They got completely. When you look at the Nebraska game, and Nebraska was up 28-0. I
yeah.
think it finished like 28-14 or something like that. Nebraska kind of called the dogs off and knew that they were in no, you know, there was no chance of them losing the game. I think they let them, just so they didn't embarrass them too bad. But Nebraska is a middle of the road,
Big Ten
big
team.
school, and
Yeah,
they completely dismantled. So Colorado's not really going anywhere, even though I think Fox wants to see that. Colorado, I think, has a ceiling, and I want to say this is what I found very interesting today. I was looking on something on MSN Sports.
hmm,
They have Colorado picked to win 6 games this year, and this came out just today that they're going to lose the majority of the rest of their Big 12 games, but they'll win at least 6 games to get to a bowl this year, and they're predicting us to go 8-3. I'm like,
yeah,
8-4. I'm sorry, 8-4. I'm
yeah.
like, I guess you didn't watch any football this weekend. Whoever wrote this article, or maybe have AI at this point writing it. because it's like, they have us beating, Cincinnati, and okay, I can see us
But
possibly,
yeah,
but they have
because
us
we
beating
have equal talent.
Utah, Arizona. I'm like,
No way.
this
No
is not
way.
happening. BYU. I'm like,
No.
no, this is not happening. BYU's ranked now, aren't they?
Yeah. They're
I
a top
mean,
team and undefeated.
yes, and the funny thing about that, there were teams on our schedule this year, right? That we were thinking, oh, that's a win, that's a win. And now I'm going, no, I think at best we're going to be 4-8 this year.
At best.
Right? We're
No,
3-9, 4-8
I still think we can get, 6 wins.
against
But
two.
I mean, I was very lofty this year thinking we'd win 9. No way.
Well, Matt, let me tell you, after Saturday night, I said, here's what's going to happen. I was, talking to my wife when we were walking out, going, we're going to be 3-3 going to Iowa State.
Yeah.
Then Iowa State's going to be 3-4, and that's when you're going to realize, okay, we just lost 4 games in a row,
Hmm.
like last year. We're going to go through month of October again, not winning a game.
And the only thing is, I'm going to disagree. Is I think we'll be 4-3 because I think we'll beat Cincinnati.
Cincinnati's playing better, you know.
Yeah, they're playing, but we got them at home, and I just think for some reason we can eke that one out. And if we don't,
Okay.
right, I think the season's lost. If
Yeah,
we
I mean,
can't,
okay, so that's what I'm thinking. If we go
since
4-8, it's
we have
because of
what 2 of their best
Cincinnati.
players from last year.
Yeah, we may be able to beat Cincinnati because I think we're very comparable. You know,
Hmm.
I mean, Miles Montgomery's out; he's injured. I don't know when he's coming back.
Yeah,
So we have 3 running backs right now. We have Penny Boone, RJ,
which is
and
enough. I mean, that's enough. It's
yeah,
just we have one receiver now, and that was evident Saturday night. Lord help us if Baker goes down. I'm sorry,
Kobe Hudson. Yeah,
Hudson goes down. Lord help us.
yeah. Well, our tight end is pretty reliable. How many catches did Xavier have?
Last night,
Because he had a key third down
yeah,
reception.
he he had 4 receptions for 50 yards and a touchdown.
Not bad. Not bad.
Oh,
4 for 50 yards. So, we need
again,
more
Kobe had
production out of our
two.
number two. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Kobe had 2 receptions for 40 yards.
And Whittemore, what'd he do?
Whittemore had 1 for 54 yards.
Really?
Yeah, so I guess he hit him on a bomb somewhere.
I didn't see that.
That
But
was probably insignificant. Yeah, I was probably
I
mowing the
mean,
lawn then.
it was going to Whittemore with that first interception. That was just poorly underthrown to
Hmm.
KJ. I don't know what he was thinking there.
Wait, but you think about KJ's, his passing yards were 284 yards. That Whittemore throw really padded those stats.
I guess so. I didn't. I don't
You
remember
take
seeing it.
out and you take the two really insignificant Kobe Hudson catches out, and he has like 150 yards.
Yeah. I guess you look at the stats, it looks a lot more closer than it was, but the scoreboard was telling the tale of these are two
Yeah.
two teams that we were just outmatched on. You know, um,
Well, they were
again,
going twice as fast as it looked like. Again, they were throwing bombs over us that we were letting them catch, just kind of watching. I don't know what the guys were thinking when they went into this game.
that
Again,
one
they had a
Antoine
great
Jackson play.
first series.
You talking about Antoine Jackson with the?
Yeah, yeah.
He looked like he just wasn't really ready to play out there. Like you and I were talking about that one play where Travis Hunter caught that touchdown to where it was he and Hunter running together, and he was behind Hunter, and it was just a pitch and catch from Shadur to Hunter. And it's like, kid, you got to
And
make a play on that,
he was thinking he was a receiver. And again,
right? It's the other way
Hunter,
around. He's got the
yeah,
inside, and
it
he's got
wasn't like he was in a bad angle. I mean, he just didn't make a play on
didn't
the
make a
ball.
play at it. It's like he was waiting for it to come to him. It's like that's not going to
Yeah.
happen.
And I was like,
And
wow, I don't get this one.
but
But
yeah,
this one
he,
right
he had
here
he had a
goes
bad
right
penalty,
there.
I think, on a I want to say a punt return. Was it Antoine Jackson that hit the returner, the punt returner? When it just he had a bad night, a real bad
Hmm,
night.
hmm.
And I mean, you had a few guys who had bad nights, but
Well, we had some consequence. I mean, even though we only had 5 more yards and penalties than they did, again, still a close game. But it seemed like in our 80 yards of penalty yardage, they came in critical times, like a 3rd and 12.
right.
Where if you look at that, he's got his helmet knocked off, and they said that he, roughed him. It's like, how? It's like he got his helmet knocked
Well, there were a couple plays to
off.
where I want to say it was Isaiah. I want to say his last name's Dixon, number
Yeah,
8 or 9. I can probably find that out real quick, but he got his helmet torn off his head, and he just kind of started running towards Shedeur Sanders there, and he got obviously you got to give up the play once you lose your helmet, but the helmet got ripped off his head.
what number 9, Sheldon Arnold?
Was it Sheldon? No, it was a defensive
I thought it was like
lineman
7.
is who did it. I don't really have it in front of me who it was. Um, I'm looking for it still, but yeah, it was just
Well,
what
if
are you
you
gonna
look
do?
at it too, when they showed the replay, Hunter's getting, mugged, and there was no call on that.
Well, yeah,
You know, what was surprisingly quiet in this game? Ricky Barber.
yeah, I there were so many other problems going on to where I just didn't really kind of even. Isaiah Nixon, he's the one who
Yeah,
got his helmet ripped off his head, and kind of continued at Shedeur Sanders. As soon as he did that, they threw a flag.
yeah,
It's like, how do I mean, you want to say you do know that that's you can't. As soon as you lose the helmet, you just got to stand there. You're out of the play. And but you also got to say to the officials, how do you think his helmet came off? You think it just came off that it fell off, or you think someone maybe ripped it off at the line? That's what I'm talking about. It was very poor officiating. So far in the Big 12, Matt, I have not been, very pleased with the officiating in the Big 12. Let's face it, it sucks. It's awful. And I mean, I'm not just watching UCF games. Throughout the spectrum of Big 12 games I watch, the officiating is awful.
yeah.
And
It reminds me of the MAC officiating. Matter of
uh,
fact, the MAC was better.
yeah, I mean that's
Those guys
you're
railroads every
basically
chance.
insulting the MAC. That's how bad the Big 12 is. And it almost like they were part of some kind of scheme of let's give Deion his coronation here. Didn't it seem like that? Because there's so many kind of what they call in the business packages of Colorado football. They had the cameras all over Colorado. I mean, they're
Well,
in
that
our
was
stadium.
the broadcast. You would have thought it was a Colorado home game, not ours.
Exactly. They were in their locker room before the game, right?
Yeah,
When they're warming up, they're sitting there watching that. I mean, it was like, what is going on here? I mean, it's like all we're doing is it's like whatever that NFL show is on HBO or whatever that's it, that they do nowadays is, Hard Knocks. It was like a Hard Knocks show for Colorado. It's like
and
let's
they're
kind of, give a a synopsis of how Deion is before the game, during the game, after the game, and it was just
they're trying to get like Heisman buzz for Travis Hunter.
he's a good player.
But I mean, does a Heisman ever go to a guy who's on a team who has 3, maybe 4 losses?
That goes 6-6, like
Yeah,
MSN is predicting.
I think
No,
the
it
only
won't.
remember that lost more than one game. It wasn't a championship run. Was RG3
Right.
when he was at Baylor? I think he had 3 losses. I
Yeah.
mean, do you
Well,
remember anybody
yeah.
else?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and
Even
see. I mean, I
Doug
do
Flutie only
know.
had one loss when he. I mean, that goes way back, 30 or 40 years ago.
I think Colorado State this weekend, man, has to play K State at K State,
Colorado does.
Colorado.
Okay,
So that could be a loss right there. You know, although K State, how'd they do this past week? I know
they
Utah
won.
lost this past
K
weekend.
State. K State won.
Okay, Utah lost to Arizona.
Well, they're a different team. Cam Rising is injured again. I don't know. He must be in his 9th year of eligibility.
I think it's the seventh, isn't it?
Is it? Yeah, he's
It
played
is the
forever.
seventh, I believe.
I don't know how he's still playing.
Yeah, and it's Mark Daniels did make the point the other last week about these. You get 5 years. That's it. I don't. If you're injured 4 of the 5 years, you get 5 years. No more 7 year players. You get 5 total years. Period. And you can play 5 years. Meaning,
Yeah,
we're not going to say you can only play 4 games in one of the. You get 5 years.
yeah.
And let's make it. I mean, a seventh year player out there. It's ridiculous. It's embarrassing
But
that you have
they're, I
seventh
mean,
year players playing in college football.
they're all over the country.
Yeah, they're
Um,
playing in college football.
I
It's
mean,
just
yeah, you've
ridiculous.
got that kid who's at Miami. I think he's 8 years. The tight end who had that injury
I've
that
never
was
seen an 8 year
past.
player. I've only seen 7 year players. Like you know, uh, that
Now
tight
he
end
was,
we had last year. If he came back, he would have been his seventh year.
yeah, Friday night he was the one who caught the touchdown to go ahead.
I don't. I really don't. I don't know. You may be right, but
But
I don't think they have any
last year,
8 year players.
last year there were 6 and 7 year guys all over the field and on Michigan's team. Heck, the
All
national
right. Well,
champion
that's kind of cycling its way out now. If you notice, it's starting to cycle. It's like Dylan. Dylan's been. Is this his seventh year or sixth year?
6 year. He's 19 is his first year.
Okay, so he it's his sixth year, and I got a feeling he could play his seventh year if he if he wants to come back to Oregon. You know,
Was he a senior this year?
Supposed to be. But he did have a you know he was part of COVID, and he also
Oh,
had a um
a redshirt year.
right a redshirt year, COVID year, and an injury year.
Yeah,
So God forbid he comes back for a seventh year. It's just, like I said, I think like what Mark Daniels said, it should just be 5 years period.
yeah. 7 years.
If you get injured on 3 of them, well then too bad. You got 2 years to play.
No, I agree.
And
Far too many. Well, if you look at, I mean, again, going around the uh, the country with FSU, it's like they lost all 85 players from last year.
well, yeah, FSU's got its own problems. I mean, you
Because I
know,
watched the game, I didn't watch the Georgia because I really don't care to watch SEC football.
no, I don't. Yeah, I didn't watch the Georgia game. I
So,
did kind of
yeah,
peruse on it and saw that Georgia got back and took the lead. They're late in the game. And then Alabama had quite a play,
no kidding.
to win the game. But yeah, I was so sickened after the UCF loss. I didn't watch much college football after that. I have to admit.
And yeah, half-heartedly saw the FSU game. They got beat 42-15, I
Yeah, they got
believe.
beat down, and I think
Yeah.
the Uwe guy has been demoted finally. I think it's starting quarterback is him and whoever the backup is. So I think you're probably you have a quarterback controversy now at FSU.
Well, they're
And
paying him.
huh?
They're paying him. He's making
Well, he's
money.
not any good. That's the problem. The guy stinks. And
And what do you do to a
you
kid?
got to win games. They've only won one game, and they're going into Clemson this weekend. They're going to get
Yeah,
beat again. I mean, you looked at that schedule. You got Miami in a week or two.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
another loss.
And Miami got beat by Florida State 2 years ago pretty badly. They're going to want blood.
Yeah, I agree.
They're
And
going to want to beat them 100-0.
if they can, they're gonna.
Yeah, they're gonna beat them as bad as they can.
And I think it's at Miami this year, isn't it?
Yeah,
So it's gonna get ugly. And I even think Florida has a shot against FSU at FSU. If Florida
yeah.
can get it together,
That team I saw Saturday night, Mark, SMU dominated them.
right.
They dominated. And again,
Yeah.
even as poorly as we played, and really what I think about our team this year, I still think we could beat Memphis, and I still think we beat SMU. Just for the facts, I think we'd be able to run the ball on them, and that would throw their passing off time.
But Florida State still has the same problems of they can't block anybody and they can't stop anybody.
Yeah,
And especially if you can
two major
run and
problems.
pass, Florida State's got a problem.
Yeah,
And it showed Saturday night against, Rhett Lash LaRue. You know, I knew he was game planning for at least 35 points. And it was going to be a tough thing to see if Florida State could even get to 35. And
yeah,
he got to over 60, didn't he, at home? And what did Florida State end up with?
Oh, they had a lot. I mean, they had a chorus line offense. A
Oh,
lot
okay,
of
so they're 3-and-out all the time.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
It's having an undefeated team last year and how bad they look this year.
right.
I don't get it. And again, they recruit pretty well this year. Really, the last two
Well,
years.
I think that you have guys underperforming
Yeah,
at FSU, and that's just obvious with the offensive defensive lines. And that Uwe Ungalale is not is he wasn't any good 2 years ago when he was at Clemson. I don't know why you thought he was going to go out to Oregon State and improve. The Oregon State was a lot better team when they were in Power Five status, but even when the games got tougher last year at Oregon State for him, he lost all of them. You know,
yeah.
so I
Well,
mean,
notice he doesn't do a lot of reads at the line, and I also notice his checkdowns are terrible.
yeah, I don't really watch Florida
Where
State football that
if I
much,
was
but
the head coach,
I've seen enough
I'd
of him that
say, I'll tell you what, just run the play that I call, and we'd be better off just seeing how we do.
Matt, I'm telling you, I'm trying to think what game it was. An ACC. I want to say it was Boston College right before halftime
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago when he overthrew. I don't know who number four is. I think it was a receiver that came out of the backfield in the. This is at the goal line, and he overthrew
Hmm.
him by 10 yards. And the guy was all by himself. He could have tripped, got up, and still been wide open. And you can't over. It's like that's frustrating, especially I'm sure if you're an FSU fan.
Yeah. And I mean, and I think of the game, I don't think they ever led in the game.
Yeah, I just saw that play because I was,
Yeah.
perusing through the channels. I want to say it was a Friday night or a Thursday night game that they played
Hmm.
against Boston College. And when I saw that, I said, "Well, Florida State's losing this one." When you can't
Yeah.
score on an easy, when you have a wide open receiver in the end zone, the running back out of the backfield, and you overthrow him by 10 yards, it's like you guys are you're destined to lose this year.
Well, as I was watching that game, I was like, huh, Thomas Castellanos. He was once a knight.
And he
And
was not well.
we
That was,
we we kicked him out, threw him away. So
that
get
was
out
one
of
thing, yeah. That I mean, I guess we can kind of finish up with the Gus thing and the UCF thing here and move on to this week, which is the
Florida.
Gator week.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'm used to UCF getting a quarterback, getting two or three of them, the Trujillos, the Risks, EJ
Yeah.
Colson, throwing them out there and see who rises to the top, who's the cream, and then you start developing the kid. I mean,
Hmm.
every good quarterback we've ever had, that is how it has worked, right? We've never
And
had
I'm
a
just
kid come in
guessing,
here and actually been given the job like what Gus has done for the last couple of years and been any good.
yeah, we have not
It's
developed
never
any.
worked.
We've developed nobody here in the last
Yeah,
in
Gus
Gus's,
Gus developed Mikey, so I
and
know he
then
can develop a quarterback,
threw him away. Then told him
and
to get
yeah,
going.
and then got rid of him for, I mean,
For an athlete, I mean, he did get an athlete out of him. With
JRP
RJ.
is a good person, a good
Yeah.
athlete. He was not a quarterback. We've always, as long as we've been doing this podcast, but we've always said he's not a quarterback. Well, he's an accurate athlete, you know.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, he's not a quarterback. And
Ugh.
that's when we can fold this right back in with Castellanos. I think you had the spring game with him and JRP, and I think Castellanos thought he was better, which I think he was better that night in spring, and then had the conversation and there's a bunch of hearsay of what was said, so I can't really confirm anything, but
Mm.
people think that Castellanos went in there and said, I think I should be starting here. If I'm not starting here, I'm leaving. And that could have happened. Or what happened, I think, also is that he, you get you kind of, you get ready for summer workouts and things like that. I'm sure you go through a kind of a process with the coaches and they tell you how you did, things like that, what you need to work on.
Yeah.
They may have told him you didn't do that great and we're thinking of maybe moving you to another position or something like that. And he got pissed off and left.
Yeah.
That's one thing we're just not privy to. And I don't even think it's any kind of, rumors have gone out of how that went down. He played well in the spring game a couple of years
Yeah,
back, and then was gone 2 days later.
yeah, and it's um again, we will never really know what happened. But what I do think is you have Thomas Castellanos is still playing quarterback.
Yeah, and
So,
he's got Boston College as a contender.
well,
You know,
they've been ranked underneath him. Now they've lost last week, but he didn't play in that game.
right, right.
So
My point is there. I don't think we're convinced that they're not going to make a bowl this year, right?
yeah,
To where we can convince ourselves just by looking at. I mean, we'll know more after the Gator game this week, but that's the thing to me is when you sit there and you will. That's I guess we'll just segue over into the Gator game here, okay?
yeah,
But you look at um, the Gators are like 109th in rushing
yeah,
of stopping the rush.
which plays to our strength. And again, this is the best time, our best time, Mark, of playing the Gators since we've ever played them, and probably ever in the future. We'll actually have a chance to go into the swamp and beat them
Right.
right this year.
Yeah. But
This is far in my lifetime the worst team I've ever seen. They don't play
well,
defense very well.
they're ranked 37th on the what is this, the Lindy's that I get every year? I mean, they're ranked higher than we are.
Well, they've got better recruiting classes.
Yeah, they got talent. They do have talent.
Yeah, good, and that's what I'm saying is,
I mean, I did watch
if
that
they can put the
Mississippi
box
State
on
game.
us
What?
and mark out Kobe Hudson, then yeah, we're going to struggle.
Well, yeah, I mean, we watched the Mississippi State game right? The last game they played, and Mississippi State did not play. They did not throw the ball. All
Hmm.
they did was run the ball,
They didn't have to.
and they just ran the ball successfully.
Yeah,
Against Florida, and uh, I don't think Mississippi State has anything better than we have. They're
no.
home, I guess, to where it's supposed to be a sold out, you know, swamp this Saturday.
Oh, as a Knight fan, this is exactly what you want. You want a night game in the swamp, with a chance to beat them.
Well, what happens to Napier if we go in there and do a Colorado to them?
That's yeah.
I'm
That's
not
a good.
saying it will happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying what happens if it does. I'm
Well, I'm
I
thinking, if they fire him, I think that's a stupid move.
well, I've always been saying, look, you got to give him more time. You got to at least give him the end of the year here.
Yeah.
I mean, I always find it silly when you fire somebody when you're paying him, especially when you're not going anywhere. They're not. I
Hmm.
mean, this schedule's so hard. It's not like they're going to fire him and then all of a sudden get better. They're
The
not.
the hardest schedule in the country.
Right. So you might as well just keep him and make him sit through it and earn his money.
I agree.
If the team quits on him, say, well, you're our coach, coach him. And
Yeah.
then at the end of the year, if you want to fire him, fire him. Right.
Or make him quit, make him want to just quit. Because I don't know if I'm a coach and I've lost my locker room, I might want to just quit anyway. Also,
Well, um, I don't know if these kids quit. Well, what you're doing, Matt, with these kids, and I don't know how many of these kids. I think we talked about this 2 weeks ago on the podcast. As soon as you fire him, Matt, the portal opens up.
yeah,
So you
and that
fire
could be
him, all of a sudden you get all these kids say, "I'm out of here," and be gone. And then what are you going to do?
yeah. Because that one year when was it Houston beat SMU by what 95 to I don't know 17.
I don't
I
know.
could see Georgia doing that.
Okay, but my point is so you fire him, then all these kids are gone before they play Georgia, and you may
Yeah,
not have enough kids to really put up a. You're obviously not going to win another game, probably.
no, but I guarantee you, Mark, Georgia would probably put 95 points on
Okay.
just for the fact because if you think there is lore between a game between Georgia and Florida early in their existence where Florida doesn't accept it, but Georgia did beat them. Something crazy like 75 to nothing,
Oh
and they
yeah.
said it didn't count because we didn't have an official football team that year. Georgia counts it, Florida does not. Well, this one right here, for all the Georgia fans out there, if they could do that, they would do that. They would beat them 75, 80 to nothing. Just say yes. this one did count. This one happened in the new.
The Spurs done it to them before.
Oh yeah, he hung a half hundred
He
on them.
did it. He did it
In Bedford.
in between the hedges too.
Yeah,
Remember that one time when was it
yeah.
93 or 94? He went in there and he
It
really
was it
just took
was
them
in, it was the
apart.
'95 season.
95,
Yeah, he hung a half hundred on them in Sanford Stadium.
right? So I'm sure
48.
as the SEC goes, I'm sure there's quite a few Bulldogs that remember that.
Oh yeah,
And so if they could hang a half a hundred or more than a half a hundred on Florida,
they will try to hang 80, 85 of 90 because again, then that talk of the one back in like 1902 goes away. I'm sorry, 1911. Because I know Florida's first year was I think 1906 or something. I'm not sure,
okay. Well,
but it goes away, and now they say yes, this is the true worst defeat ever.
Jacksonville's redoing their stadium, I think, after this season.
Mm-hmm.
It's either this season or next season. To where then it's going to go to campus home and home.
Yeah,
Florida's really going to have to start getting their stuff together here, or it could just turn into a mess, you know, with losing to Georgia every year here for the next 10 years. That I do you fire Strickland too? If you're going to fire the coach, you're going to fire the AD as well.
yes.
So then you go, okay, who do we get?
Georgia right now, Mark, is out recruiting all of us. And they're coming into our backyard and taking whoever they want from
And
us.
and they're taking anybody they want, like Dooley used to, but in Jacksonville.
Yeah, they're taking anybody they want.
Anybody who's worth a darn is going to Georgia and Jacksonville.
Miami, Florida, Florida State, UCF, South Florida, nobody can stop them. They take whoever they want right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
And if you look at,
It's
I'm looking at our future recruiting. If I'm a kid and UCF has got me on the line, and I'm saying, I'm a quarterback, but I've got this coach here who I don't see develop anybody. And they don't tell me that he's not going to have guys who are recruiting him also that are recruiting against us aren't going to tell this kid that same thing. That give me because that's what I would do. It's like name me one kid who's played at UCF that Gus has developed, who's recruited and developed. Tell me one.
Mikey Keene.
And that's all. I mean, and they said,
Yeah,
okay.
I mean,
But
quarterback wise, I'm sure you could sit
what
there and name
happened?
other kid. Yeah, you got a pseudo point there of, you know, I think I lost my train of thought. I was going to say about Gus, but um, you know, we do have our problems, and we got to see if these guys can coach it out. I'm supposedly watching, the press conference today. It seems they seem to think, well, we just had a bad game. Let's go ahead and
I hope so.
file it and move on, and
I hope so.
let's get ready for the Gators. And I'm thinking the Gators are fighting for their lives. I don't know if they have, or at least the coaching staff is fighting for their
Yeah,
lives.
we will not have a better chance to beat Florida than we do this Saturday.
And I'm not sure if these players behind everybody's back are reaching out to other teams trying to say, hey, okay, as soon as this guy quits, are you guys interested? And
Yeah,
things like that. I don't know. That could very easily they could just quit on this coach and it could be against us. And
that's
then
very
I
true.
think get fired because I think the Gator brass, the alumni, and the athletic department, if we go in Gainesville on Saturday, he is fired on Sunday. I know
Yeah.
they
Well,
will
Mark,
not put up with that.
we have friends who are Gator fans now who can't stand them.
No, but you know what I mean. If
Yeah,
we beat them in Gainesville, he's done.
yeah,
And like you and I were talking about just before in this conversation, then you're just kind of opening up yourself for the rest of the season of just being a doormat to the SEC because
yes.
everybody's going to leave because they can because the
Hmm.
portal opens up right then for all the players who want to leave. They can leave and they will, you know. And then you got to, if you're say Lane Kiffin, which I don't think he's going to Florida. I just don't.
Yeah,
He's already got it going. I mean, he lost this weekend to Kentucky, and to me, again, your better bet, Matt, is Stoops at Kentucky. If you could figure out a way to get him to leave Kentucky to come to Florida,
yeah.
he already has good recruiting ties here. You know?
He would recruit better here than he does in Kentucky.
Yes. And that's my point. Is you could literally let him kind of start over when he got here, and literally he could really recruit high school and portal. And I tell you right now, the Gators would be a competitive team in 2 years.
Yeah,
And what I mean by competitive is they start giving Georgia and these teams,
a game at
I'm not
least.
saying they beat them, but they start giving them a game.
Yeah, we're talking 27-20.
Yeah, because I think
Twenty-seven
Stoops is a good
17.
enough recruiter where he could turn it around quick enough to where it would satisfy the people at Florida.
Going in the right direction.
Lane Kiffin's, it's just going to cost a lot of money. If it don't work, then you're paying this guy to go away.
Oh,
And I think
uh,
Lane Kiffin's another one saying, look, I'm getting paid plenty here, and I've already got it worked out here.
yeah. And let's face it, your place is on fire. It's a dumpster fire.
Right. So it's like you're gonna have to pay him more. I mean, you're gonna have to get him to the point to you're paying him 13, $14 million a year. Is it worth that? I don't
No,
think so.
no.
Because he's getting 10 now, I think.
You'd be better
And then
off
you got to worry,
going.
Matt, if the SIP, right, Ole Miss goes, we'll pay you 13 to keep him.
Yeah, they'd be better off, Mark, going to ask Bill Belichick to coach their team.
Well, Bill's in his 70s for crying out loud, and I'm sure he'd be a delight in the recruiting tab around the high school kids. Yeah,
Oh, could you imagine him, Mark? He could show up with his Super Bowl rings. He'd have a ton of stories to tell.
yeah,
I
but
think if
I
he
don't think
wanted
he'd
to do
want
it,
to, Matt. I mean, could you see? I'm in my 50s. There's no way I'd want to go recruiting.
no, yeah, I just think if he did, and again, he probably wouldn't have to recruit that hard. I guarantee he could recruit some of these kids better than with Deion telling him the story like hey, I'm like you. He could say, look, I've dominated that league. I know how to get people there. You come play for me, I'll get you there.
Yeah, I guess that is possible, but I just think there
I'm
is
a
a bit of a
Hall of Fame coach.
yeah, but he is again in his 70s, you
Yeah.
know.
No,
And
I
so
agree.
you're in your
No.
70s. I don't think you want to start over. It's not like he's walking into an Alabama job.
Yeah, because he has what, 8 Super Bowl rings?
No,
Six
he
as a
has
head coach.
six. He has six.
He's got six as a head coach and 2 as a defensive coordinator with the Giants.
Right. Okay. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
got 8 total.
Right. I'm sure the giant ones are still in the box, in his dresser drawer. I'm sure he never even looked at those.
Well, you don't think so?
No, he's only wearing his Patriot ones. That's all he's wearing,
Yeah.
and his probably his latest Patriot one.
Yeah. But I'm saying he has that many. So he's,
I mean,
or
what we were just talking about. You gave me. We had what over 100 recruits at this game on Saturday
hmm,
to see that, and it's almost like we gave Deion a free recruiting trip to Orlando
yeah.
because I'm sure those kids went right over to Deion's
Start
side
talking.
and started talking football with him.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if any of these kids jump ship from because some of these kids we had 5-star kids on our campus, Matt, and obviously we're not, but we at least invited them. They were interested to come. You had to show your best, and this is what we showed them. And again, I'm sure Deion is not willing to come to Florida that much to recruit, other than, and this was a free recruiting trip for him.
Yeah.
And it couldn't have got worse,
No,
with that. But back to the Florida UCF game. Um, if we can run the ball and
we can beat them.
as poorly as we did on Saturday, I'm going to have to see us do it first.
If we run the ball, it won't be a contest.
Yeah. You don't think Mertz will be able to get any offense going, or
No, because he won't be on the field long enough. If we run the ball, we'll gobble up a lot of that time.
okay, yeah, that's a good point. But oh, I don't know. What do you think?
Here's our best chance to beat Florida in the 4 or 5 previous times we played them. This is the best shot we have against them.
We
And
haven't
again,
been there in 18 years.
no, yeah, and
I
again, we have a
think
chance to beat them
it's
not
been
only
18. Yeah,
in the swamp,
2006. We were there in 2006, and we got crushed. Remember that?
40-0. Yes, I remember that game.
And
But we had a decent team. It was just they had a national championship team that year.
right, they were hitting on all cylinders at that point. and they really just tore us apart to where it'll be interesting to see how we do this time. I mean, we did play them in the bowl game a couple years back, won
Yeah.
that, and they have the excuse of, well, our coach got fired and nobody cared. And they're like, that's fine. We can think that. And okay,
Well,
yeah.
this one right here, Coach Fire or not, we can say, Mark, we beat him in the swamp at night.
Well, KJ's beat him before, and I think he started in the afternoon and went in tonight.
Well, no, no, it was a noon game.
Oh, it was okay.
Yeah, it was
Because
a noon game.
yeah,
I
okay.
watched the game, and I remember Florida lost that game because they missed a field goal.
Oh, is that why?
That's why.
Okay, well, but yeah, I mean, but Cage is going to have a game, so we cannot have four turnovers and expect to win this game.
No, exactly. We've got to
And
play
we
good
gotta,
ball, good sound football, and again, run the ball well, and we can win.
yeah, we're gonna have to be able to run the ball, control clock, and no turnovers. And we gotta remember think tempo. You got to think tempo, Gus. We can't
Hmm.
keep sitting there shuffling guys in, shuffling guys out, and sitting there looking like some hodgepodge, experiment out there of somebody who doesn't know what they're doing.
And I'm hoping that someone somehow a number two steps up at receiver.
You think so? You're giving up on Xavier because I want to say Xavier had a pretty good game,
But he's not our number two yet. He's not.
right? Well,
Do it this week and next week. They'll say, right, maybe you're the strong number two now.
Pittman. I was kind of considered Pittman number two anyway.
Well, I mean,
Pittman's number two, Xavier's number three, and
as
Whittemore and/or number 16 or 18, whoever that is number four.
is Pittman, I guess, our Gronk then?
Yeah, he's tight end, and the guy he's consistent. He's another guy
Yeah,
who picked up a couple key third downs, and I'm talking over the middle, threw him the ball, he
yeah.
caught it, got whacked, still was able to hold on to the ball. And I mean, there were a couple bright spots, but nothing bright other than we were able to
But
kind of keep
yeah,
the
he
drive
doesn't.
going.
Yeah, he doesn't remind me of a Gronkowski though. We don't use him like that. We use him more like a Dave Casper
That's fine.
or
Dave Casper is an all pro as well.
or a
And
Mark Christensen. We
and
don't we
that
don't
that
use
that
him.
position with a Casper type, Todd Christensen type was a very productive player. That,
Yeah,
that position was very productive in that offense. So I'm fine with using Pittman as a Dave Casper, you know,
because Gronkowski was
Todd
almost like
Christensen.
a rushing attack.
Well, the thing
Yeah,
about Gronkowski is he was dominant with the mismatch. Like a linebacker couldn't cover him. He
yeah,
was also one of those guys, Matt, that he go right off the line, 2, 3, 4, 5, steps. He'd be in in the kitchen of the linebacker, and Tom would put it right on his numbers, and he could catch it, and then he could run away from the linebacker.
yeah.
You know,
And it'd be like a 13,
that's a
14.
special
Yeah,
type of a guy, who can do
yeah.
that.
No, I agree.
But oh, I don't know.
That's not Pittman though.
Go ahead and give what's you know,
Oh, I don't.
your prediction
I'm
on this one.
thinking, it's a tale of two games. If we right the ship, I think we can beat them 31-13. If we have last week show up and somehow Florida finds himself, they'll beat us by two scores.
Two, maybe three, because it appears to me
Yeah,
once we kind of get two down, it's easy to get three on us. We're just
yeah.
like I said, that last touchdown that Colorado got on us, it was just a garbage touchdown that we gave up.
It's
You
just, yeah, is
score
Dr.
there.
Jekyll or Mr. Hyde going to show up? I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I got to be convinced this is what I'm seeing. If we are able to figure out a way to get Florida play, mistake prone football, a lot of turnovers, things like that, disarray. Hopefully they quit on the team already, even with the week
Yeah.
off. We could win the game. Otherwise, I think we lose four in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Even Cincinnati. If we lose this weekend, we'll lose next weekend.
But again, if we lose Cincinnati, then all hope, in my opinion, is lost.
Right. Then we're going 3-9.
Yeah, then it's looking
Then
bad.
it's going to look like circa 2015 in there. Nobody's
Yeah.
winning the games. You know.
Oh, it'll be a barn.
And it's a lot of money wasted at that point.
Mm-hmm.
But This is a key game for UCF this weekend. We have to go into Florida Field. We must win.
Yeah.
We can't do it. We could really have a problem, losing Gus losing the locker room fifth game in, you know.
Yeah. It could be real ugly.
Because at that point, what do? Right?
Well, you still have what 7 left to play, so
Yeah, I mean, but seven hard games, and
mhm.
like I said, if we get beat this week, I think we we go
Mhm.
four straight losses. Uh, come back from Iowa State, and after Iowa State, then it's BYU here on homecoming. So it
Another
could be
loss.
five straight, Matt,
Yeah.
and then it really starts to. Remember last year we went through like a 4 or 5 game
We
losing
went
streak,
we
didn't
lost 6. We were 3-6.
we? Okay, so we lost six before we won one.
Yeah, we lost 6 in a row, then we won 3 in a row.
You sure about that?
Well,
I
no,
thought
I'm
we
not.
dropped one of the last 3 games. We won two of the last three.
That's right, because we did lose Texas Tech.
Right.
By, so you're right. So we
So we
did lose.
lost 5 in a row.
We were 3-5. We win the Oklahoma State game. Okay.
And
Yes.
yeah.
Lose lose to Texas Tech and then win the last 2.
Right. And we'll see. Right. To where again, my
Yeah.
prediction at the beginning of the season was still 6-6, if you remember.
Yeah.
For season 3, episode 1, I predict 6-6, and I said you got to show me to
Yeah.
before I start guessing anymore. I got to see that we're there.
Well, I'm
Yes,
saying
we
right
played two
now,
teams that were lesser than us.
yeah, I was
We
wrong.
had an exciting win against a team that seems to be in disarray themselves of TCU, and
Mhm.
then the ugliness showed up on Saturday.
Yeah.
Is that who we are, or are we the team that beat TCU? And that's what this Saturday is going to show us. Are we a good team, or are we not a good team? And if we're not a good team, it's going to get ugly from here.
Yeah.
If we do go into Gainesville and are able to figure out a way to win on Saturday night, we could probably have a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. And again, you picked what'd you pick? Florida win or UCF win? But
Oh, no, I didn't pick anybody. I just said if we play well, we can win by over 10 points.
I
If we
hate to be
don't, we'll
negative.
lose by more than 10 points. I don't know Jekyll or Hyde. I don't know who's playing this weekend.
Yeah, I hate to be negative, but I'm going to count that as a loss. We're going to lose by I want to say 13.
Yeah, I mean, I could get behind that.
Yeah, I still think,
Oh,
and I
last
think
week.
we'll have a decent running game, Matt, but we'll have 3 or 4 turnovers. We'll our defense is going to just become non-existent,
Mhm.
and we'll lose by at least 13 points.
We'll be within striking range, maybe down by 6, and then we'll do something to mess up, and they'll get a late touchdown and beat us by 13.
It'll be another turnover or something, like a scoop and
Yeah,
score, or pick six, and that'll end it. Or a fumble,
yeah,
which would be a scoop and score, I guess.
yeah,
But you know, that's kind of seems to me as of how this season goes, or UCF seasons. What Gus always kind of poops himself 4 times a year. You
Well,
know,
he did. He had a bad game last week, so
that's
there's one.
one. Yeah, that's one right there. That's number one. Does he rebound and get us a win this week, or is it 2 times that he figures out to fumble away the game? Because we got a lot of good teams on that schedule. I mean, I'm looking at the schedules up
Yeah,
above me over here. That's the reason why I'm. But
look, yeah,
it's Gators, Cincinnati, which yes, technically I agree we have a chance to win.
we still got to go to West Virginia.
Then it's Iowa State. Iowa State's a loss all
Yeah,
day long. We're going up there just to get beat. Then BYU, that's a loss at home. They've beaten us at our place before.
yeah.
You know.
No, they beat us. We've only played them twice on a
Oh
home
yeah,
and home.
okay. We beat them at our place. They beat us at their place, and then we
Yes,
we lost them in that Boca Raton whatever
yeah.
fiasco during
The
the
Boca Bowl,
COVID
yeah,
year.
that fiasco.
Arizona, that's a space game. We'll see if there's any kind of fight left in this team, Matt. Because I guarantee you, if we've lost 5 games in a row by the time Arizona gets here, we'll lose the space game this year.
Wow, first time ever.
Right. Then after that, it's Arizona State out of Arizona State. They're getting it. We're not beating them out there.
Mm-mm.
Like I said, and I'm just trying to prove that it just starts to get worse and worse every week. I mean, this is the part of schedule to where everybody's good. Everybody has enough talent to beat us, and I think you and I kind of mentioned that we supposedly have better talent than everybody else, but it's just not showing up.
No.
So it's either we don't have as good a talent or it's the coaching,
Well,
right?
again, our first 2 sacks of the season last week, and there again, it's non-sequential. I want to say it was like one in a gift wrap sack
Right.
where he just fell down because he was looking to break through a hole and couldn't find it, and he got his feet got out from underneath him and he fell down.
I mean, yeah, Florida's got Tennessee next week after us. So
Tennessee's
hopefully they're
going
looking
to
past us to Tennessee
Tennessee's going to crush them.
because they got to go to Tennessee.
Yeah, they're going to crush them.
But I don't know. Well, anything else?
No, like I said, it's all I can say is, guys, this is the time that you find yourself, So
It is the time. I
yeah,
mean, if
dig deep, and see if you can find something in you that will get you back on track, because it's a heck of a lot more fun to win than it is to lose. And again, if you let losing define you, it will define you.
well, that's just it. It's like what are we made of? I know we're 50 guys new here, but are we truly a team, or are we just 50 guys? Some of us are collecting decent sized checks.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of us you're getting paid something, and we're just going to play like that. That's one of those things that we'll know a lot about this team after Saturday night.
I need to know. Let's
Yeah,
find out. I want to know.
it'll be interesting. I'm not going up there. I'm going to just watch it on TV. I was thinking on
Yeah,
it when we were 3-0. I was like, well, if we beat Colorado, I might take that trip. And no, I'm not doing it.
yeah, that may have been a fun trip. Yeah, but yeah,
I'm just
you're
going to
right.
watch
No,
it at home.
I agree.
All right,
I'm Matt Johnson.
this is Mark Johnson.
Goodbye, everybody. See you next week.
All right, it's Knightspeed. So go Knights.
Go Knights. Charge on.
See you next week.